All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to this month's innovBite session. So this month we are looking at learner engagement and we are looking more specifically at where design thinking meets user experience. So previously in the previous month, we actually looked at learner engagement in terms of the art and the science, so learning theory and AI, where we went through the process of having the use of a chatbot in the process. So this month we are looking at how do we look at the more of like the specifics when designing a tool or using a tool, the design thinking and the user experience in holding and maintaining and retaining the learner's attention. All right. So with us today is Mr. Aditya. All right. So Mr. Aditya is actually the co-founder and CEO of Codomo, which is an education technology company, and his team's mission is to actually provide equitable access to future-ready skills through delightful experiences. So Mr. Aditya is here today to share with us his tool project, and in the process, he's going to bring us through how he integrated principles of design thinking and user experience to then capture learner engagement, and also how he integrates gamification. All right. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Mr. Aditya. But please, everyone, this is an informal session. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to just, raise your hand or share your question, or you may leave it in the chat and we will address it along the way. All right, over to you, Mr. Aditya.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Swimming. Thank you for the kind introduction, and hello and good afternoon to everyone. Very happy that you all joined us here, and I can see like we still have more people streaming in, so we are like grown to 44 people. That's great. I would love if you all can be on cameras for no reason, but just because I don't want to talk to a wall of text. Just it'll be nice to see some faces, and it'll make it more interactive. But of course, if you can't, no problem. Thank you. Oh, perfect. Thank you for obliging. Thank you. All right. Great. Great to see faces, because sadly we can't be in person, which would have made this event even more engaging. So thank you for being here, and I'm gonna basically break this session down into like basically just two segments, right? So I'll give you a quick introduction to who I am and what we do and our mission with Rolljack, and then we'll spend most of our time actually on the platform, where I'll run you through a couple of activities, and you can get a hands-on experience of what it means, to do Rolljack. And feel free to interrupt me. I encourage that, right? So drop your questions in the chat or unmute and just talk to me and ask me like anything that you are thinking, any queries or comments or whatever it is that you have, right? Just unmute and let's keep it informal. Okay, so without further ado, let me share my slides with you. All right, so we are here to talk about Rolljack, and with Rolljack, what we are trying to provide is innovative engagement for everyone, right? So as I'm talking later at the end of the session, I'll tell you more about it, but the website is www.rolljack.com, right? So a bit about myself before we jump in. So as Suming has already given you, a brief introduction for myself. So I've primarily been, my background is in software, and I've been running an education technology company for coming to 7 years now. And we've built multiple successful products in the past. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the next slide. But a lot of what I have done and keep and still am doing presently involves a lot of teacher training, a lot of corporate training, specifically in design thinking and innovation, or for things like software development and stuff like that, right? So technology skills or innovation skills is primarily what I've been doing a lot of. And so we've also had the opportunity to conduct a lot of hackathons, designathons, and be involved in summits like the Design Education Summit, even conducting hackathons overseas and stuff like that. So I guess my specialty is in combining, the confluence of computational thinking and design thinking, and that is essentially the genesis of Rolljack, because a lot of what we do is like running hackathons and designathons, and we always thought like how can we make this more scalable, and how can we introduce this concept into every classroom, right? Because design thinking is one of these things that's a lot of times is done in silo, right? So you're either doing, teaching maths and science or teaching, design thinking or something like that. So that's essentially what we were trying to do. So um, in the past few years, we've released multiple successful products. The first product line that our company launched was Potato Pirates. It's a series of board games that teaches computer science or computational thinking concepts. And if any of you are in public schools, I think you may have seen these around. We have quite a number of public schools, not just in Singapore, but around the world. We use Potato Pirates to teach computational thinking concepts. So Potato Pirates actually has been funded fully on crowdfunding. So we've raised over $500,000 on crowdfunding. But our new product focus, of course, is with Rolljack, and we're trying to roll that out, pun intended. So our Potato Pirates actually has been featured world over in one of the biggest publications and been recognized as one of the best ways to learn computer science especially for kids. But through this journey, I think I got more inspired to try and connect the dots with, with what it means to do innovation and what it means to how we can use innovation or innovative concepts to enhance learning engagement. So our mission with Rolljack is actually to create the most collaborative engagement platform in the world, right? And primarily because there's there's a very clear divide. What I'm seeing out there in the technological landscape, right, where we have things which are collaborative tools and digital whiteboarding tools like Miro or Mural, right, where you can get in-depth collaboration in real time with someone else, right? But these things are not easy to scale, right? And they're not easy to onboard learners onto, right? And typically, digital whiteboarding or collaboration tools are used by people who already do things like innovation, who already are at the forefront of technology and innovation, right? So on the other hand, we have a lot of learning and engagement tools. We have a lot of quizzing tools. We have things like Mentimeter. We have things like Kahoot, right? And I mean, those things are dime a dozen, right? Where you can do a lot of close-ended quizzing, polling, surveys, stuff like that. But those don't facilitate discussions or teamwork or collaboration at all, right? So they're very one-dimensional. And this one, meaning collaboration tools or digital whiteboarding tools, are very in-depth, but not scalable and not very easy to introduce to people who are not quote unquote initiated, right? So our mission is to sort of have the confluence of both these things and provide a user experience that provides the collaborative. Um, sorry, I'm just looking at the question. Oh, sorry. Okay, there's not a question. So our mission is to provide the confluence of the collaborative capability with the scalability and game-based learning, right? So that's what Rolljack is. So Rolljack is a scalable, easy-to-use game-based learning platform, right? Where you can plug this into your classroom, or even if you are doing adult learning, or even if you are somewhere in like mid to senior level executive training, right? So with Rolljack, what you can do is run brainstorming sessions, icebreakers, discussions, quizzing, polling. So it's, like I said, it's providing that confluence of collaborative learning together with quizzing, right? And with this, what we get is mass and equal participation. It's scalable, it's guided, it's easy to use, right? Especially for people who are not privy to these kind of learning environments, active learning environments, or design thinking sort of training, right? And with the platform, you get teamwork right out of the box, where we support team-based activities very easily. So, like I said, what we are trying to achieve here is scalable, but also collaborative learning experiences, right? Through, like I said, game-based learning, which provides the team-based interaction, right? Which opens up a different segment of audience interaction, where you're not just interacting with your facilitator, but also with other people in the environment that you're in. So why now? Well, I mean, in schools, innovation and creativity are sadly not the forefront of focus. So this is a study by Adobe done in 2016. So I mean, that's nobody's fault. It's just that we don't really have a way to bridge the gap between innovation and creativity and academia. And but this is a World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report for done in 2018 for 2022, actually, for this year. So what they have shown is that innovation and creativity are actually the most important things of the future, but they're not promoted in schools. And like I said, it's nobody's fault. It's just because we don't have a way to integrate that, and we are trying to build that integration with Project. And the same thing with enterprises, right? Remote and hybrid are here to stay, right? I have done countless corporate training workshops, 8 full days of training, fully remote, right? And it's all been done on digital whiteboarding platforms like Miro, right? And all that is great. It has its perks, but it's also causing a lot of difficulty in having employee engagement, having people collaborate, and having just people interact more in a more human manner, right? And that's what we are trying to introduce with Rolljack as well. So just a quick overview of like what we are trying to offer here that other platforms are not. We go beyond just quizzing and surveys, to provide guided, scalable, team-based activities, collaborative discussion templates, and provide an element of peer evaluation. And we also have an automated assessment tool, which I will demonstrate in just a bit, right? So, which is an AI tool that we have that allows you to grade or evaluate open-ended responses. So we're trying to push the boundaries of open-ended discussion or inquiry, because a lot of learning and engagement tools only stop at just close-ended discussions and quizzes. So how it works is, on our platform you can pick from a different set of activities, which can be for brainstorming, quizzing, polling, discussions, team building, or icebreakers, right? And once you've built your activities, right, you just go live and you share this with the session code with your participants or your students, right? And they don't need to sign in, so they can join your session, as a guest. No sign in is required. So that takes care of like security issues and everything. So then what you do is you get responses from people, and these can be sketch-based responses or text-based responses. And it's not just about getting responses. We also introduce collaboration, where you can collaborate with each other's responses, and you can also evaluate each other's responses, right? So it allows students or participants to be front and center and provide them the opportunity to actually grade. What's the name of this tool again? It's called Rolljack, and here is the website. There you go. Right. So we also provide a lot of different dimensions of peer evaluation, where you can have more lighthearted peer evaluation, where you can we give every participant digital currency, and they can invest in each other's responses. Or you can create different types of scales, right? So you create different rubrics or dimensions of evaluation, and you can get them to evaluate the responses as they come in, and then you have everything documented, and you have a gallery where you can view everything that was done, right? So sorry, again, when can you use Rolljack? Well, it's pretty much for every or any setting of engagement that you may have, be it for brainstorming, project work, promoting collaboration, peer evaluation, or even for quizzing, right? Quizzing and polling, right? So again, why we are doing this is really because 21st century is really not about getting the answers right. It's really about promoting that cohesion, promoting the 4 C's of 21st century learning, creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking skills. And that's, I mean, these are terms that we use quite commonly, but I think we are quite mindful and quite we're quite deliberate about trying to incorporate these things into our platform. Okay, so overall, with what we are trying to do is we are trying to use Rolljack by incorporating the elements or fundamentals of innovation or design thinking, and using those elements, because innovation and design thinking is inherently engaging, right? Because it's inherently team-based, right? And we're using those concepts and plugging those into a learning engagement platform, right? And through that, what we see is from our over 20,000 registered users, the most common word that I've identified as the primary benefit that people have identified by using Rolodex is the word engagement. Like they just keep saying that my students are more engaged, my students are more engaged. And this is so this is really what we set out to do, where you don't need to be an innovation or design thinking instructor or a teacher, but you can use these concepts to enhance learning engagement, right? And it's really just because it's guided, right? So enough of me just talking, and perfect. I had allocated 15 minutes for my introduction. All right, so we are right on time. All right, so now let's play. So I'm gonna switch over to my screen over here. So I've prepared a bunch of activities. We won't go through all of them, but I just want to give you a quick like a test drive of the platform, right? So this is where I've prepared all my activities, and once I click done, I'm actually asked if I want to go into team mode, right? So we can add as many teams as we want, where participants are split into teams, similar to how you would do a Zoom breakout session, right? But I'm not going to do that for this time because training wheels, right? So let's take it slow. So we will do it without teams first, and we'll go live. All right, and now I am compelled to share my computer sound with you. There you go. And I will share this link with you in the chat, and you can just click on it and you can join the session. There you go. So the link is in the chat, so please just click on it, and then, oh, perfect, we have people coming in already. Yeah, once you come in, well, you'll be asked to draw yourself, right? So you have to draw the best version of yourself that you can.
Yeah, maybe lower the volume a little bit.
Sure. Thanks for the feedback.
Feel free to join everyone.
Tell you what, I'm going to join as well.
Also, you can actually draw your own topic.
What's that, sorry?
Like you can actually draw your own profile pic.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah. Essentially,
that's very fun.
That's what we're doing. Yeah, and I mean, from the get-go, it becomes a bit more fun, right? Because like you're not just asked to type your name, but like it's a bit more personal than that.
Yeah,
so also, if you're wondering why we are cutting sushi, it's really just a filler. It's if you've drawn yourself and you're cutting sushi, it's just a filler activity to keep people on the platform, or else they're gonna end up on Instagram or TikTok.
Interesting.
Okay, we got 45 people, and I think that's about right, judging from we have about 60 over people. So I'll just wait maybe 30 more seconds for anyone who's coming in. You can join in late as well, but it's best if, of course, if you join before I start the session. Any latecomers? Final call. So the link is in the chat. You can click on the link and join in right away. All right, let's begin. So like I said, I've set up a couple of activities. I'm starting you off with a Rolodex signature activity, right? And does the music come with the app? Yes, the music actually comes with the app. I hope you mean that in a good way. Okay, so what's happening now is, let me add some time. So what's happening now is this is a warm-up activity, right? So this is a creative thinking exercise, and you are trying to survive a tsunami using a random object of your choice, right? And on your screen, you have 3 random objects. So go ahead and make your choice of what you're going to use to survive a tsunami. Right, this is just a warm-up. Okay? So you're just going to choose an object, and once you choose it, in the next phase, we're gonna sketch out our ideas of how we're going to use this object to survive a tsunami. The last 5 seconds. So go ahead and make your choice. Okay. So what's going to happen now is you're going to see that same sketchpad that you saw when you drew yourself. Okay. And you are given 90 seconds, 1.5 minutes to draw out your ideas, right? To sketch out your ideas. So don't think too much about it. This is just a warm up. It's a fun warm up. It's a creative thinking exercise. Below the sketchpad, there is a title box. So remember to give your sketch a title. All right, last 5 seconds. So go ahead and finish up. Okay, so someone asked, what is the sushi cutting while waiting? Again, the sushi cutting is just a filler activity. It's a fun, hyper casual. It's one of those things that is oddly satisfying, right? It's just to keep you engaged. All right, so what's happening now is we are now on the collaborate phase. So on my screen, you can see the phases here. So we did the emoji select, the respond, and now we're in the collaboration phase, right? And you are seeing someone else's response or someone else's idea on your screen, and your job is to remix it. Your job is to add on to it. You can do whatever you want, right? And if you can't figure it out, it's open to your interpretation, right? So we have 1 more minute to collaborate with this person. And above the sketchpad, you can see the emoji that they chose, right? So that gives you some context for what they're trying to do. And you can read the title that they wrote. The title also gives more context. All right, last 10 seconds. So if people don't submit, your responses are auto-submitted, okay? So your responses are still going to be submitted, so you keep everyone on track. Okay, so now that you know what's going on, we're going to do this one more time, okay? So it's someone else's idea on your screen again. So we're doing collaboration 2 times. So again, one more idea on your screen, and your job again is to remix it. Is it possible to have the participants work on the same whiteboard or drawing? That is resounding no. Well, it is an intentional choice we have made because why don't I explain that after this activity? Yeah? It's going to be a long answer.
Okay, so the hard work is now over. So now on your screen, you're going to have 3 responses from other people here in this call, right? And you have this evaluate this response thing. So click that. When you click that, you will see that you have a wallet of 1,000 Rolljack coins, and you have this money to invest in these ideas, right? So you can invest in these ideas as you want. You can spend this money as you want, right? So you can go back and forth. You have 3 ideas each to invest in. So pick out the ones that you think are cool. All right, last 10 seconds. Okay, and we are almost done. There's another, okay, there's 2 questions. I'm gonna take that right after this. Okay, so now we are at the winners page. Okay, so what you're gonna see on your screen is how you did compared to everyone else in this call, in this room. Okay, on my screen, let me lower this down a bit more. So on my screen, we're seeing the top 3 voted ideas, and these are the people who did them. So these are your winners for this activity. All right, and Harlow is probably a portrait of me. So basically so let's see what they did, right? So we have Harlow, Anna Sabosada, and LP, right? So let's see what they did. So now I'm going to call on you. Let's just hear from our top rated response. Harlow, you used the diamond and you created a boat. So can you tell me more about what you're doing? Harlow, are you there? No, I think he's shy. He/she is shy. All right. So basically what I'm trying to show you here is, the fact that you can run a quick like brainstorming or discussion, right? This was lighthearted, right? Of course, but I have a couple of more which are a bit more serious that we can look at in a while. Okay, but now I want to take some of the questions that are in the chat. So starting with Raymond's question about possible to have all the participants working on the same whiteboard. And for that, I want to just bring this up, right? So the reason why we don't allow for participants to work on the same whiteboard is really because we are trying to promote equal participation. And I think there are a lot of collaborative platforms out there that allow you to work on the same platform at the same time. Even Google Slides and Google Docs does that for you already, right? So there are a lot of collaboration tools out there. What we are trying to do is promote more synchronous collaboration. And honestly, the only way you can have better discussions or better ideas is by having more ideas, right? So this study has been done multiple times, and the quality of discussions or the quality of ideas that you get is always a factor of quantity. Yeah, Jason, you're raising your hand. Okay, maybe that was my mistake. Okay, so so this is intentionally done because, like I said, we are trying to promote equal collaboration, right, or equal participation as well. So, which is why it is by design. So we have like about 50 of us who joined my activity, and we have 50 different ideas of how we can survive a tsunami using a random object. Iterated 3 times because each of us did versions of three versions of it, right? And two collaborations. So that's 150 iterations of how many ways we can use random objects to survive a tsunami, right? And we accomplished that in like 10 minutes or less, right? So you wouldn't get the same experience or the same output, right? If we were doing this all on one canvas, we probably come up with one or two of them, right? So it is by design that it is not, synchronous in that sense, right? So it's called rotational viewing, right? So can participants log in and using handphone instead of computer? Yes, I'm actually on my phone right now, right? I'm joined on the session on my phone right now. In fact, this entire player experience, like the participant experience, is best experience on a mobile device. We've intentionally designed it to be mobile first, because of that specific reason. Like we don't want everyone to be on a laptop or a computer to be able to participate in a role jack, because that's typically what's required of other collaboration platforms out there. So this is a mobile friendly, lightweight version of that. Raymond asked, is this app embeddable into PowerPoint? Yeah, we've been asked this a couple of times. No, it is not right now. Is it somewhere on our horizon? Yes, but not immediate as well. So, we are working on a lot of things right now. So in fact, we have an entire new look and feel of the app, of the website, that I'm not able to show you now because we're only taking it live next week, right? So we're working on a lot of cool things right now, and the embeddable into PowerPoint is further down the line, but definitely on our horizon. And we have another question. Can participants see all the responses given access by facilitator? Yes, so let's see all your responses, right? So here in the gallery, we can see what everyone did, right? So we have a repository of everybody's responses. We can see what, how you scored, and we can click into it to also see the different versions of it, right? So we can see the first version that was created by Ana Sabosada, and then we had Salim, and then we had AI or Al, right? And we can also see who voted on what, and we can also see, the total that they raised. So you get the entire repository of that. At this point, a participant does not have the access to what I'm showing you on my screen. That's a new feature that should be released by sometime by next month. Yeah. So that's something we're working on, where participants will be able to see the entire gallery as well. Okay. So I'm going to continue, because as you can see, I have a lot of activities that I put in here, but we don't need to necessarily go through all of them. I just wanted to showcase some of the different things that you can do on Rolljack, right? And I'm going to start off the next activity, and this next one is a bit more, I guess, serious, right? So the question is, what are some of the ways we can enhance learning engagement online? So on your screens, you have text boxes, right? And you have a plus button where you can add more text boxes, okay? So you can add as many like suggestions or ideas as you have, okay? So treat each text box like a post-it. So don't write an essay, just maybe write like 5 to 7 words, right? What are some of the ways we can enhance learning engagement online? All right, last 10 seconds. All right. So now again, so sorry. So you're asking where to type. Uno, can you hit refresh? Maybe your, or did you close the tab? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with you, but if you just hit refresh, it should get back to where you are. Okay, so now we are in the collaboration phase where you can add on to what other people have written, right? Other ideas that they've come up with. Yeah, exactly. So thanks, Simon. Yeah, you can try opening that link again and all should be well. All right, so I hope you're finishing up the collaboration. So typically, if someone doesn't manage to finish their response, you can just help them out a little bit. Okay, and we are done with this. So now in the evaluation phase, I wanted to show you another way of doing evaluation, which is a bit more serious, right? Where you can create your own like rubrics or criteria of how you're gonna evaluate responses, right? And on your screen in just a second, so right now you can see that when you click the evaluate this response, you will see a 10-point scale, right? So I've come up with like 3 different scales. So one is called impact, the other is called innovative, and the other is called marketable. So how impactful and innovative and marketable are these ideas on your screens or these responses on your screen? So there's a question in the chat. Do you have a comparison chart of what this app has or can do in terms of activities against others like Nearpod and WooFab? Yes, we do in fact. So I was showing it earlier. Maybe I can show it again later. All right, and we are almost done. Sorry, Jacob, there's no score option. Well, I think we are just done with the activity. We're out of time. Maybe that's one. Right. So again, we can see different responses that have come in by everyone. We can see what everyone's done, right? And you can see how they scored. Similar to what I showed you in the previous exercise, right? In the previous activity. So this gives you a nice baseline understanding of what Rollback is capable of. So I'm going to power through some of the next 2 activities, right? So in the interest of time. Right, so this one, I'm skipping this question. I just put it up here just to show that you can actually embed content onto your questions. So you can have embeddable stills, like still images like JPEGs or PNGs, or you can have GIFs, or you can even have things like videos. So I'm going to skip this question. We can skip the question and let's start the next activity. So here, I have an embedded video. Right, so I can actually pause the session. So all of you are paused, right, and the timing of the activity is paused. And then this is when I can actually play the video.
Raccoon babies are very small when they are born. They cannot stand or open their eyes. Only female raccoons take care of the babies. A mother might have 4 babies to take care of alone. She must leave them in the den when she looks for food.
All right. So the question is, so this is like a listening comprehension, right? The question is, how many babies does a mother raccoon likely have? And if you missed it, the answer, should I tell you? The answer is 4. Okay, so you can just click on 4. Right, so you can do like multiple choice questions here as well. Rabia says, someone added on their idea in Japanese. Maybe you need a translator tool for multi-language collaboration. Well, currently, you see, innovation knows no boundaries or languages, right? So that's the beauty of it. But anyways, currently the product is only available in English, right? But a lot of what we do is not limited by language, because like a lot of it is like firstly visual, textual, right? And you can type your questions in any language and you can get responses in any language also. But of course, like the instructions on the screen will be in English. If anyone is thinking about, implementing this for non-native speaking learners or what have you. So the other question earlier was about Nearpod and Bootstrap. Well, yes, I would like to show you, but I just wanted to get through, the rest of the activities, or at least a few of them. We're about halfway through now, and the rest of them won't take that long, hopefully. Yeah. So I'll get back to that slide right after we are done with this. So whoever hasn't responded, please do so. We have like 10 more seconds to finish. Typically, you don't have like, a minute and a half for an MCQ question. So I just gave you more time just to, so that we can talk. Okay, so, and we are done with this activity. So what will happen here is you can see the fastest respondents, and you can see the overall, distribution. Well, thank you for those who listened to me and listen to the video, right? So you can see the percentages as well. In the gallery, we can also see, go to the right one. Yeah, so we can also see the same thing, right? And we can also see who chose what, right? So it shows you who chose what, right? Okay. And the timing that they had. Okay, so let's keep going. So now this is a math question that I've given you with the same concept of the sketchpad. This time I've uploaded an image on the sketchpad, which is a Cartesian plane, right? So I can ask you guys to draw a cosine graph, right? So draw a cosine graph, cosine x wave, right? And label the intersections on x and y. So quick check on how much you remember secondary school, elementary math. And Ceiling's shaking her head. She's like, why did you do this? All right, everyone's super serious. Trying to Google what's a cosine x graph look like. Right, but don't worry. We are going to let your peers, meaning the people here in this call, evaluate whether you did it right? So we can check whether they know it's right or not, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to, after we are done in the next 10 seconds, we're going to go into our evaluation phase, which is a tagging phase. And you're basically going to tag the response as either it's correct or incorrect. All right. Okay, so some of you will get nothing to evaluate here, like I have on my screen, because the person I'm supposed to evaluate didn't submit anything. So this happens when people choose not to submit. Jacob says, anyone who still remembers the user's sign after that exam paper is still teaching math or really good at math. Well, then you're going to really dislike the next few activities. Okay, so most of you know what's going on, right? So you have to just click on the tag to tag it as either it's correct or incorrect. So while waiting for some of the responses, aside from pausing a session, you can actually add more time to activities. And now we also have another feature where you can move to the next phase of the activity immediately. I don't have it right now because it's not publicly released, but we have that and we'll be releasing that next week. So if you feel like it's taking too long and people are not, responding, you can just end the phase of the activity and collect all responses at once. Right, so it can be a bit more dynamic, right? Okay, so at least we have 2/3 of you who have responded. So over here we can see we have 38 out of 59 responses. That's good. Also on this screen, oh right, no time to explain this. I should have done this before. Okay, we're out of time. Okay. Right, so we have 8 responses tagged as correct. I'm not going to mention whether it's correct or not. Okay. We have some, I like this one. We have some tagged as incorrect. But again, I'm not going to make mentions of it. In fact, I feel like the ones that are tagged as incorrect are actually more correct than the ones that are tagged as correct. All right. Okay, so now this is our auto evaluation activity, okay? And this is basically an activity where you have to type your response to my question. And my question is, describe the process of digestion, right? And your response is going to be graded based on how close or how accurate it is to the model answer that I wrote, okay? Okay, so what's going to happen is your responses are now being graded by our AI tool, right? Based on semantic and lexical correctness of the responses to my model answer, right? And it seems like a lot of you didn't respond, which is why it's taking a bit longer than usual. But we'll be there. Okay, yeah, okay. So we got all right. So yes, of course, I won because I knew what I wrote. So I just followed like closely to what I wrote. So I'd written this as the model answer, right? Digestion starts in the mouth, food enters the stomach and then into the small intestine. And I wrote a very similar thing to that. And I got a 95% accuracy score. And HC got a 64% accuracy score. I guess because you use some of the keywords about like assimilation, and Dr. Stranger also because you use things like stomach breaks down small intestines, So it's ranked based, or is scored based on semantic and lexical correctness. Yeah. So last few activities, again, I'm going to skip this one because you can, you've already experienced this. This is another AI scoring activity. So I'm just showing you that it's not just limited to like science. It can be for anything, right? It can be like a history question or anything, right? So it will be ranked based on like what I write as the facilitator. So I'm just going to skip this question and start the next activity. So here we have an image of a tree on the left, and this is a physics question. So on your screen, you're asked to draw out what it's going to look like, but I won't torture you with this, okay? So, so you can actually upload your screen, upload something on your screen, and get responses by uploading like that same image onto our platform, and then get responses, right? So basically, this is asking you to draw how the light ray is going to end up in this question. So I'm going to skip this as well, right? And finally, the last one also will be skipped. I'm just showing you like just giving you more ideas of like what other things you can do with it, right? And you can even get ask chemistry questions like getting people to draw electron structures and stuff like that. So I guess the possibilities with what you can do with Project are quite endless, yeah. And it's really about like how creative you can be as an educator, but primarily it's about facilitating more effective discussions and just enhancing learner engagement, because you can interact with people in the room, right? So that's in essence what I wanted to show you. I'm going to end by going back to my slides and showing the comparison chart as it was asked earlier. And then last 5 minutes, just for Q&A and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, this is just a comparison chart. I think you don't see the things that you mentioned here, like Nearpod and WooClap. So I can tell you verbally, I think Nearpod is the tool that is, I would say, closest to what we can do in terms of features, right? WooClap is good for things like polling and MCQs, right? And I think we do have those capabilities also. Primarily, our edge over other tools out there is the team-based learning, the peer evaluation, the collaboration. Those are our strong points, and essentially that's the space that we are in and we want to be in. Okay, so some of the key takeaways from today basically are really just about how to evaluate, or rather how to enhance learner engagement in classrooms by allowing them to have more human interaction, right? And so I want to stop my screen here. Like I just want to say this verbally. So it's really just about enhancing that human interaction by allowing people to interact more the way they would in an offline setting, right? And promoting that sort of connection in learning environments, and not just about getting the answers right, and not just promoting the competition, but promoting the collaboration, right? I think you need a mix of both those things. So lastly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a link, right, which is a referral link, right? And you can sign up for RollJack using this referral link. I'm just going to paste it in the chat, okay? And if you do so, we will award you with some points. And using these points, you can actually redeem the pro subscription for free, right? So by using points, you can redeem pro subscription for free. If you sign up today, it is free to use all the way till the end of the month. We are officially launching on the 1st of June, 2022. So from now till 1st of June, it's free to use. And beyond that, it will be a paid product. And essentially what you will get by paying for it is you'll be able to host bigger sessions, right? And some other features that you'll be able to get by being a paid user. So that's the shameless plug about RollJack and me being a salesman. But that's it from me. I would love to get some questions or any remarks by anyone. If not, I'm going to hand it back to Zewing and want to keep mindful of your time.
We do have a question from Renault. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Just a quick one on the auto-graded questions. That's an interesting feature, but how easy is it? So let's say I create a question and the answer is, say, to park the car on the road or park the car, something like that, right? Would the AI automatically then grade any student that says, oh, keep the vehicle on the street? Or do I have to manually
Yeah.
anything that I accept is road or street?
Yes, exactly. So that's a very good question. It's graded both on semantic and lexical correctness, which means like how many words were used is one, and what the meaning of the sentence is one as well, right? So essentially, what you described should do relatively okay on our grading, right? But with every AI tool, of course, it has its flaws. I'm not saying we have the perfect one, and we are definitely trying to make improvements with that as we go along. Yes, but to answer your question shortly, it's based on like the words, the vocabulary, right? The closeness of the vocabulary and the closeness of the meaning of the sentence. So the scenario that you described, where synonyms are used, it should still do relatively okay in terms of the grading. Yeah, but naturally the grading would be higher if they use the same words as it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's limited to one answer per question, right? But like in that second example of the World War II question I used, I actually had 4 reasons that I had listed in that same response, in the same answer, right? So you can actually have that. You can have multiple responses in the question, but of course, then you would, if order matters, then it would work. But if order doesn't matter, then you would probably have to split them up. Yeah. But I understand what you mean, and we are in due time we will be able to have multiple responses in one AI grading quiz. Actually, it's not very difficult for us to release that feature, but it's difficult for us to explain it to people. So we're releasing a simpler and easier to use version first. Any other question? And if not, thank you very much for being here. And I've dropped the link in the chat to sign up for Rolljack using the referral code. If anyone is interested, I highly encourage you to sign up, because it's free to use, so you've got nothing to lose, right? And you'll also be able to explore all the features as I described them, completely at your own pace. And by next week, you will see a very different look and feel of the product. Well, not very different, but quite different, right? So we've been making big improvements to our product, and official launch is 1st June. Yeah, perfect. Thanks for having me. Thank you, Tsering. Thanks for getting this arranged, and that was a very exciting session. Thank you.
Thank you, Aditya again. Aditya again. Yeah. And before everyone go, can we trouble you to help us fill up the post-event survey? So let us know what you like or dislike about this event. So this time round, we invited Aditya to make it more engaging by running through with us the tool as we go along. And yeah, so feel free to connect with Aditya if you'd like to explore further. This is his email and LinkedIn. And also for other events, so for next month's innovBite, we're actually looking at using Jigsaw collaborative learning to then apply it on capturing value from innovation through the law of confidence and trade secrets. So we are using applying collaborative learning on a pretty dry subject, which is intellectual property. Yeah, so don't miss that. And it's happening on 23rd June. This is a collaboration with the Learning Library at Lifelong Learning Institute, but it will be conducted on Zoom. So between 12:30 to 1:30 is a lunchtime talk. And also other in-lab activities, we have InnoVlog, which is happening on 26th May, 3 to 5 p.m. So InnoVlog is where we actually have research and practitioner come in as speakers to then talk about their perspectives. And for this session, it will be actually on learning analytics. So don't miss it as well. And then finally, we actually have this program called innovPlus, which is a competition grant. So we are actually having a call for application. Feel free to check out the link for more information. So not to worry if you missed the link or QR code, I'll be sending them after this session along with Aditya's slides. So we hope you enjoy this session. And Aditya, do you have any key takeaways for our audience as like a final message?
Well, my final message is, 21st century learning is more than just, getting the answers right. So let's promote that together. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So have a good rest of the week and enjoy the long PH, everyone. Yep.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks, Sumi.
Bye.